I remember I was a kid, but I went out because he was in the house, and I went out to the backyard, and I remember like sitting on a rock and looking up and being like, "Hey God, it's me. I want to ask you that please don't let that man die." You know, and I strongly believed that he, like this was gonna happen, and as a kid, I didn't have the concept of God doing things on his own time, and so I sat down and I was like, God, please don't let this man die. I believe you. I trust you. If you make this happen, I will never ask anything of you. I will worship you. I will love you. And so it was just like me like doing like the best I could, because like he was sick, and as a kid you don't want to lose your parent, and so I was just like, please, this is the one thing. This is the one thing I'm requesting, that please help me. If you deliver this to me, I will never not worship you. You know, and I just believed in my heart that I don't ask a lot from God, but please just let me have this one. Let me just have this one big win. Let my dad live. I really need him right now. I'm really young, and if you do that, I will worship you forever. Um, and today is the 10th anniversary of his death.
I will be right here.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Fabishmark podcast. I hope we're recording. I've tried this like 5 times, and yeah, it's 1 month since I recorded my last episode with Ken Burke. And the reason why I haven't been able to record for that long is because I was doing camp and working. And if you're working and it's summertime, it's such a busy time. But I decided to record this specific episode because I just feel like, this is very therapeutic to me. And sometimes when you talk, it helps you have a different outlook to life. The world is crazy at the moment. And there's things that really bother me about life that shouldn't. And there's things that really bother me about life that should bother everyone. And I just want to jump straight to something that, I've been thinking about so much and trying to find answers to, but I haven't been able to. And that is this thing with the Titanic shipwreck thing. The submarine Titanic shipwreck tour, or like they were going down there to like see like they're on a voyage to the bottom of the ocean. Apparently this billionaire and his son were doing this with 2 or 3 other people, and they were going to see the wreck of the Titanic. And so they built themselves a submarine that was controlled by, if I'm not wrong, a PlayStation controller, like the one you used to play FIFA. And it was only working on Bluetooth. And at some point, they lost communication. And yeah, it seems like the people inside are dead because I guess as you go deeper, the pressure builds up. I learned some physics, so I might have an idea about this. But the deeper you go in the ocean, the more the pressure. And so at some point, I think the pressure outside this small tube imploded, and so like almost like crashed in, and they all died. And they were saying that it was like, I remember like as I first read about it, they were talking about how much time was left, and it was like, they were like, oh, 2 days of oxygen left. And I kept thinking, man, that must be really tough, like being 5 guys in there, and it's a father and a son, and you're trying to make sure that your son is calm. Like, what, if they're dead, which probably they are at this moment, I know that that's not the way I would want to go out. And this specific event has raised so much issues and questions and discussion on why people do things the way they do. And I don't have an answer, to be honest. But all I can say is at the end of the day, we are all human, and we have to empathize with people, especially when it's a situation where, yeah, the guy was a billionaire. Yeah, the guy might have not calculated his um, probability of living very well, but at the end of the day, he was doing something, and you know, whether you like it or not, it doesn't give you an opportunity to go in and start like talking like, oh yeah, he's a billionaire, he didn't have something to do with it. No, at the end of the day, they're human beings. We have to empathize with their families, and you know, it's brought out something that I see every day, and it's actually brought it out in the first world countries, which is um, wealth disparity. So people who don't know why this billionaire would have done what he did are like, well, in some ways he maybe deserved it. You know, like there's people starving, and yeah, you see, this guy is dying. I know people who starve and they wouldn't want that, you know, just because this guy didn't give them money. And then there's the rich and wealthy who kind of empathize with this guy and understand what he was doing. But I think at the end of the day, the people who are most important in this situation are the guy's family. I mean, it was just one billionaire. It's not like all of them are billionaires. So then there's the other four guys, or two guys, or three guys who, you know, have lost their lives, probably left families behind, kids, their wives. You know, it's such a situation where you have to be very careful how you respond and how you take it, and put your emotions about wealth aside, and just, you know, like look at it from the wife's perspective. The maybe if that guy had other kids, you know, maybe the parents' perspective. Like, how do they feel at this moment? Like, you know, they're dead, and you might never see them again. Um, so yeah, that was heavy on my heart, and I send my condolences to the families of those people, because I know it's very sad. But I also gotta ask, like, when I heard that it was when they first talked about it that it had went missing, the thing itself is named something Titanic, Oceangate Titanic Submarine or something, and I'm like, this thing is like a tube inside a big natural bowl of soup, okay, which is the ocean. Salty, very crazy to first of all think about going inside. Like think about it. Like the ocean, we don't know much about the ocean. I read somewhere that we know more about this about space than we know about the ocean. So, to take this thing down there to go and see the Titanic, first of all, who names a vessel they're using to go underwater the Titanic? You know, that makes no sense. Like, this is a name that is connected to one of the most tragic events in human ocean travel history. Like, how do you name it the Oceangate Submarine Titanic something? Even if you're gonna see the Titanic, just find something more hopeful and positive, you know? So when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, you know? And then it's very sad because there's a YouTube video that talks about this thing 11 months ago, and it shows the billionaire or like the engineer or somebody, and they're trying to prove that this thing can actually work. And so now, looking back and looking at that video, it's very sad, like knowing like this guy is no longer with us, you know. And it brings me to something that I don't like talking about, but I grew up in a place where I've always grown up next to water, right? So I grew up in Kisumu, and Lake Victoria, the second largest freshwater lake, is in Kenya. Lake Victoria, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. And I lived for some years in Malindi, next to the Indian Ocean. So I've always lived a huge chunk of my life next to water. And in Kisumu, we used to live next to this tributary that would feed the lake. And on certain times of the year, between March and May and September to November, it would rain and these rivers would flood. And so they would have like really strong currents. And because like in the rivers there was like rocks, there would be like super strong rapids. So what we would do, by we I mean me and my friends, we would cut up trunks of bananas, and then we would line them up, like maybe 5 huge trunks, line them up, and then put like a steel rod through the banana, or like a smaller bamboo stick, or like just like a normal stick, but like connect the trunks together, and we would make something called a raft, and then we would put clay on top, and we would prevent it from like sinking, so it will float. And then we would get on it and hold on to dear life as we were pushed by the current downstream towards the lake. And I remember every single time I was on this, I kept thinking, we could easily be taken away by these currents, but we kept doing it for the thrill, and it would take us all the way down. And as we were nearing the lake, we would hold on to a rope. Somebody would be standing by the bank, and they would toss us a rope, and we would hold on to that, and we would pull the raft to the, like, it will swerve it all the way to the bank, and we'll get out and then go upstream and do it again. And when I was doing it, I was scared. But when my brothers and my friends were doing it, I was more scared for them, because then I could picture things going so wrong. And it's almost like I would want to control the situation, but you can't. You cannot control water. It's crazy. So I know what those families would have felt like. Like, it's you're almost like helpless in that situation. And then I went to the coast, and I did all sorts of things. I jumped off the pier. I did some surfing. We did kayaking. We swam by the ocean. And I will say this: every single time I went there, snorkeling or whatever, I would always feel this like deep fear about the ocean, and I don't fear many things other than snakes, but I don't fear many things like that. But the ocean always gave me this feeling of the unknown, and you are stepping into someone else's home, and you're like just 2 weeks ago, it seems like my interaction with the ocean after I left the ocean has become more scary, because I saw a video of a man being mauled by a shark in Egypt. Egypt. Of all places, Egypt. Somebody is being killed by a shark in Egypt. See, so the ocean is just a place where you don't mess with stuff. That is somebody's home. And that somebody is probably not the nicest person. And so, yeah, I feel really, really bad for these people. And talking about sports, like, there's not so many things in terms of sports that I fear, but there's four things. There's four sports that give me like chills, like adrenaline, not adrenaline, like goosebumps, but not in a good way. Like they make me like want to just close my eyes. The first one is free solo, and I work at a climbing gym, and I climb in a safe environment, but sometimes you also feel like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Imagine climbing, and when you're climbing, all the strength is in your arms and feet and how you balance your body. So at some point, I sometimes feel tired, and I lean back on my rope, and there's that safety. But in my free solo, there's not getting tired, because if you get tired, or like you hold on to the wrong rock, you're gone. That scares me so much. I was watching free solo with Alex Arnold, and then I watched the alpinist. I think he died. Those are like extreme sports that push the limit of humanity, and they're fun but also very scary. The second one is wingsuit flying. Free solo, wingsuit flying. There's that one about people going down the ocean, and they're diving for like, I think somebody broke the record 130 meters, and they just like swim along this line to the bottom, and they pick something and come back up with it. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Like anything that like hinders my ability to breathe starts freaking me out. Or anything that I know one mistake and you're gone, doesn't give you like any chance to like do a second try. It really scares me, like free solo. And then there's the one where you go down the hill on a mountain bike. The I don't know what they call them, but like the one where you vertically like fall with the bike. I mean, it takes a certain type of person to do this stuff. I would rather be on land and do land sports. But the one that I think tops the list for me, other than free solo, is wingsuit flying. And recently, Instagram thinks I'm into wingsuit flying for some reason. So in my reels, I don't do TikTok. I do Instagram, and people have told me that what you see on Instagram is 2 weeks old from TikTok, and I'm fine because I don't just want to go to an app where that's all I can see. I also want to see like posts and stuff. So I think Instagram is a deal, but we can argue about that another time. But the Instagram algorithm thinks that I love watching people fly off hills with these squirrel looking suits. And so I've been getting a lot of them. And every time I get one, I always have to stop and see what happens. And these guys are, I don't know if it's brave, stupid, or like lacking something. Because somebody will jump off like the cliff, and they say it is more fun if you get as close to the cliff as possible. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like I saw one, and it was a GoPro video of this guy who broke like some kind of record. His name was Yuli Emanuele, I think, and he had the squirrel thing, the wingsuit flying thing, and what he did was he went through a 2 meter cave rock thing, and I think he was from Russia or something. And when I saw the video start, it's a 2 minute video. You can look for it on YouTube. He did that. He went through that thing. He flew right through it, and then he died a few years later. I guess doing the wingsuit flying, and like I think he landed. He was gonna land, but his parachute didn't work, and it taught me something. This type of stuff, they're fun, but they're not long lasting. Like if you do them enough, eventually something's gonna happen to you. You know, so like even like skydiving, there's the probability of your parachute not working is very high, and I'm not saying like it's wrong, but like also unless I'm 100% sure, like maybe 99% sure, I don't want to do it. And so yeah, like I've been watching a lot of the wingsuit flying thing, and yeah, it looks really fun. I would probably do it if under like a very controlled environment, but I wouldn't do it just for doing it, because I saw a guy who had a really nasty accident. He jumped off the cliff, and he looks really fun from the bottom. Is like you see like a squirrel, like flying, and then so what happened was, so he jumped off, and then he was gonna spread his arms, but like one arm, I guess you control how you go by the angle of your arm, and he bent it a little bit, and he had a helmet on, but like he slammed. No. So what he did was, so he jumped off, and then he went down, 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 took off his parachute, and the parachute kind of like flipped him, and it got caught by the cliff, and he slammed on the cliff a couple times, and you can hear him like cuss and like very scared, and I'm like, I don't want to be in that situation. If I can, I don't want to be in that situation. And then another one was of this guy skiing down the hill, and then he didn't know that there was these holes that sometimes open up because it's covered by ice. So you think, oh, it's covered by ice, but it's actually a hole, and he fell into one. Good thing he caught himself, but how deep is it? So yeah, it's just those kind of sports that I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I want to do something like this. But yeah, going back to the submarine thing, I think it's very sad what happened, and I hope that the families find relief, and they just find peace at this moment. And I really, really hope that those people's my story won't be forgotten, and I hope they rest in peace. Speaking about peace, I've been thinking about something else, like it's kind of not deep, but also deep, like space, time, the universe, and God, and how the concept of God changes according to how, like, what position you're in, and how comfortable you are, and like as human beings we get to grow in different situations, and they shape how we like see the world. Like for me, I was born into a Christian family, you know. That doesn't mean that I'm a Christian. And so I assumed that I was Christian, and then when I reached like I don't know, like third grade, my connection to God was very transactional. So I would pray to Him, especially on times when I was gonna eat, or I was gonna do a test, or I was walking to school. I would make a prayer. I would talk to God on certain times. I would talk to Him when I was going to eat, when I was going to school, when I was going to sleep. But it was more of like me asking Him for stuff, you know, or me telling Him thank you. But like I never really like I lost my connection with God at some point between like fourth grade and sixth grade, and then I remember like um the one time I really asked God for a favor, and I remember this. I was like, God, please do this. It was when my dad was um dying, and I remember I was a kid, but I went out because he was in the house, and I went out to the backyard, and I remember like sitting on a rock and looking up and being like, "Hey God, it's me. I want to ask you that please don't let that man die." You know, and I strongly believed that he, like this was gonna happen, and as a kid I didn't have the concept of God doing things on His own time, and so I sat down and I was like, God, please don't let this man die. I believe you. I trust you. If you make this happen, I will never ask anything of you. I will worship you. I will love you. And so it was just like me like doing like the best I could, because like he was sick, and as a kid you don't want to lose your parent, and so I was just like, please, this is the one thing. This is the one thing I'm requesting, that please help me. If you deliver this to me, I will never not worship you. You know, and I just believed in my heart that I don't ask a lot from God, but please just let me have this one. Let me just have this one big win. Let my dad live. I really need him right now. I'm really young, and if you do that, I will worship you forever. Um, and today is the 10th anniversary of his death. Well, not today, like 2 days ago. This month is the 10th anniversary of his death. So yeah, so he passed away a few weeks after, and I remember like I was devastated. It took me time to realize that like this was going to be a new way of life, and I did not believe that God had let me down. And I remember like I would walk by, like a church that was like in our neighborhood, and I would hear them talk about God, and I was like, I don't want to hear about God now. I don't want to hear about Him for like some time, He let me down. He let me down. The one time I needed His help, He wasn't there for me. And so I resented that connection with Him, because I felt like you've taken my parent away. What else do you want? Like, yeah, I think me and you are done. So I just went through life. I was bitter. I was not like bitter, but like it was just there. And the funny thing is, I would go to church, I would pray, I would sing, but there was just something missing. And it took me a while. It took me a long time to realize that just because I was born in a Christian family did not make me a Christian. And I think most people confuse that. And yeah, somebody asked me that today. That's what I'm talking about. He was like, when did you give your life to Christ? I don't remember the exact time, but it was one of those things where after struggling with that loss for like 5-6 years, I was able to just be like, well, it happened, and I've counted my blessings since then, and there's a lot that has happened that was great, and so I'm just gonna take those wins. But it doesn't mean that it didn't hurt, and so yeah, now I'm slowly building my relationship back with him. So yeah, like if you're going through the same thing, and because whoever asked me, I'm sure like there's a reason why. I can't tell you how to live your life. I can't tell you that this is exactly what it is, because sometimes we think about life and we think about it as a small like we're so microscopic that every single thing matters, and you get so much anxiety, depression, and all these like problems. But and it's also good in some way, but it's also bad when you over focus on stuff like that. On the other hand, we only get to live. Think about this. The universe has been there for years and years. But we as you as a person, only get to really live on planet Earth for maximum 100 years. 100 years. And who knows what's there after? I know, like, I really hope there's a heaven. And even the staunchest Christian will tell you, what if there isn't? I believe there is. But if there isn't, you only have at least 100. And most people don't even reach 100, maybe 70 years of your life. And you spend half of them struggling through life. And then just when, like, the whole concept of people getting to just, like, rest and enjoy life when they retire is crazy to me, because you work so hard, and then now when you don't have that energy anymore, that's when you're told to rest. It just makes no sense to me. But yeah, like, if you're going through a hard time right now, I think if it's like something really serious, I understand that. But if it's something small, just remember, we're here for a very short time, and I always will ask myself, like, what's our purpose on Earth? And most people give different answers, but I don't know. I just think it's crazy that we live in a planet that we don't really know, like, when it was created. We just know, like, there's the biblical and the science part, but we don't know exactly when it was created, and we don't know how long it's going to take for it to end. But we know something for sure, that we're all gonna die at some point. And I've been having this I've been having a game, not a game, but a dance. Not a dance. That sounds weird. I've been having a lot of thought about mortality and human, like, the limit to human life. And when you think about that, it brings a lot into perspective, because hey, 90 years, 100 years, 70 years, and that's it. And it brings you to wonder, like, do I really want to leave this world just like a number? Like, nobody really cares. What's my imprint on planet Earth? What do I want to leave behind when I'm gone? And I've been asking myself all these questions, and asking myself, like, what's the ultimate purpose of us being human beings? Like, why are we alive? Like, why was I created? Why were you created? Why was I put where I was put? Why do we fight? Why do we go through, like, life? We wake up in the morning, we work. Why is there politics? Why is there sports? Why? Like, are we just put here to just for, like, is God just using us just to, like, be entertained? Like what are we actually doing on Earth? Has anyone ever answered that question? Like, I know we live, we have kids, we work, but, like, what's the end point? What's the end result? To what? Like, why were we actually created? These are big answers, and I welcome people to have conversations, and we can talk about this stuff. And yeah, but they get me excited about life, and they make me look at things in a way that it when you get out of that thought process and you look at someone, you're like, and they're complaining about, man, I'm so mad about, like, this person who ran the light. I'm like, really, really, you know, like like what? Why are you alive? Why do you wake up in the morning? Yeah, talking about waking up in the morning. I am not a morning person. Yeah, waking up in the morning for me is not. It's not easy, but I don't get how people just like get up and they're like so happy. Why are you happy? Like there's a scene in Vikings that says, "Who who told you that you are supposed to be happy?" I love that scene. I don't know why, but I just love it. Um, but yeah, this is just a small episode that I just wanted to talk about the submarine thing and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I don't get, and I know this is gonna really might offend a few people, but I do not get the whole idea of water bottles. Carrying a water bottle everywhere you're going is I'm trying to carry less stuff, not more stuff. And I saw somebody today do something really crazy. I consider very crazy. She has a metal water bottle, and then she goes to the water filling thing, the dispenser, and it has the cold, warm, and hot button, right? I don't know why people do this, but on a normal day, it's not cold outside. Somebody fills the water bottle with hot water and they drink hot water. If you are somebody who, first of all, has a water bottle, good for you. I just can't carry one. It's really hard for me to keep up with stuff. Imagine if I sometimes don't know where I put my phone. I can't even imagine me not like just casually walking around with something full of like liquid, just moving around. It's so hard, but some people are so good at. Some people even have stickers on the water bottle. Good for you. But that's fine. But now, if you're the person who just casually drinks hot water, like I drink water to cool and to feel good, You drink hot water, like, is it that easy? Maybe there's some doctors who know this, but why do some people, even on a hot day, prefer to just drink hot water? And maybe this just might be like a thing I'm the one who's seen, but it's got me to the point where when I see somebody who I know and they have a water bottle, I'll go to them and I'll touch it to just make sure it's cold. I like really cold water. It's good on a sunny day. But just casually drinking hot water. First of all, hot water tastes terrible. Like just taking hot water and like gulping it down. It's awful. Yeah, so I don't know why anyone in their right mind would just get a bottle of hot water and just drink it. It has no taste. It tastes like it's burning your tongue. It's gonna leave a really bad taste in your mouth. I don't know why, but I guess that's something people do. So yeah, that's an observation I made today. People drinking hot water. Yeah, it makes no sense, but I guess it is what it is. So thank you guys for listening. It's been a great episode, and I'm gonna try and make more like this as soon as I can. But it's been great talking to you guys, and I hope you guys have a great night. It is 2 a.m. This is what we do as podcasters. We sit till 2 a.m. and we talk about stuff. And yeah, there's so much I can keep talking about. Oh yeah, somebody asked me a question. I think I've answered this before, but somebody was like, tell us your worst date. Your worst date. And I thought through that and I was like, my worst date. What was my worst date? And I think I must have told this. I'm sure I must have told this. But my friend Mark and I, well, I've never actually gone to a date. I've not. And I think dates are kind of stupid. No, not stupid. Okay, I think I don't get the idea behind it. Like, especially if you don't know somebody, I would rather do something What I mean by a date, and what in Kenya we mean by a date, is sitting at a restaurant and talking. That is what we call a date. I would rather do like something where something, was it proactive, like golfing, or not golfing like the putt putt, or like watching a movie, or going to make pottery, or something that is engaging and you can actually communicate, not like sitting down and be like, so do you like dogs? No. Okay, do you like cats? No. No. It just makes no sense to me. It's very awkward. But people do that, and that's fine. So I've not really gone on one like that, but I remember my friend Mark in high school. I think I've told this story before, but there was a school next door, and there was this girl who was their school president, and so was I. And so I one time, like they were like, "Ooh, we ship you guys." If you understand what that means, and I was like, okay. And so Mark was like, I was trying to play it cool, you know. And Mark was like, well, let's connect you guys, and on the next game day, you guys can talk. And I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. And so, they got this deal done and whatever. And so, what happened was, because I was school president and I had like not like an envoy of high school students, but we were very respected. Like in Kenya, school presidents are very powerful. And I was sitting under a tree, and we sent, I think it was Mark or somebody, to like they were like, hey, go call her. And so she came like a little bit closer, and it was in a field, like there was a lot of people playing games and stuff. And I was supposed to go talk to her, right? So I was like, all right, well, you've done your part, so let me go talk to her. So then I walk across to go talk to her, right? And I'm looking at my boys, and they're so happy. They're like, Maggie's like, yeah, let's go, this is gonna be great, So then I walk all the way to her, and then I stopped, and I was like, hey, so what do you like? Like, do you want to sit under the bench and talk on these things? And the whole time I'm looking at my friends, and they're enjoying this. And then the girls who are around her. The funny thing is, my boys were left by. These girls just continued standing there, which made it even more awkward because it's almost like a test. And I was like, I won't be phased. I'll just keep talking to you. And so it's very hard when you want to talk to somebody and tell them, hey, can you sit on the table? And all the friends are just standing there staring at you. And I was like, can you just get something to, But anyway, so I was like, hey, do you want to sit down? And the only thing that came from her mouth was, listen, the next time you want to talk to me, do not send your friend. Make sure you ask me by yourself. And then turned around, and the other girls were like, ooh, and then they walked away. And I was left standing there, and my guys like didn't know what was going on. And at that moment, I realized I had an option to go back and be like, yeah, you did well, or like to just be honest. And it's really hard because there was also like some, because I was a senior, so like there was like some ninth graders and eighth graders sitting by, so they heard that. And because I was school president, they could not look me in the eye, But man, that walk back to my boys was tough. And Mark was like, how did it go? And I was like, yo, you guys messed me up big time. She told me to, like the next time she basically was like, well, don't ever take me as somebody who you can send somebody to talk to. So that was humiliating. That I was left standing there alone, and the entire place was like focused on me, and they they giggle and walk away, and I'm left standing there. I'm like, oh wow, So then you have to find a way to turn around and actually walk away. It was weird and awkward, but yeah. So that in short was the shortest, worst date we ever had. So yeah. So well, what are some weird dates you guys have had? Because I want to hear the stories, especially the ones about sitting at the restaurant and talking about things you love or not, and pretending you love the food. And I just love observing people and stuff like that. So it's always interesting when you sit down and you're sitting next to a couple who are on a date and you hear them ask each other the questions that are the most meaningless, like, so what do you think about spaghetti sauce? Oh, it's great. I love spaghetti. My grandma is from Italy. Oh, she's not. It's from Italy, and she makes the best spaghetti. And the guy's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I want to come and try that. And he's like, yeah. Oh man. Oh, have you tried pasta? Have you tried what's that thing called? Ravioli. Oh, it's the best. I love, and it's like over exaggeration of everything. Oh, do you love cars? I love pickups, and like, oh, kill me now. But anyway, yeah. Well, whatever you like, just go do it. So, well, guys, I am gonna go to sleep, and it's been a great episode, and I will see you next time. And I hope you guys are great. Please don't go to the ocean. Please don't wingsuit fly like a squirrel. Please don't try and ride your bike down the hill. Stay on the land. Drink water, cold water, and yeah, and everything will be great. I hope you guys are doing great. Have a great June. No smoking, and we'll see you later.